All right, we're back live for panel number 3 of the day. 3 fitting because it's remake 3. So,
Perfect.
yep. Again, welcome everybody. I hope you had a good break. Welcome back if you're joining us. And again, I want to reiterate, please ask questions. We want to get the chat involved as much as possible. So we're leaning heavily on the questions from the chat. So go ahead and ask what you want to ask. And welcome back to the cast. It's been a few months since we've all hung out. I'm glad to see all of you. I guess we'll start with Jeff. He's in the top left. How you doing, Jeff?
Good, man. How are
Yep.
you? Thanks
Good,
for having
good.
us.
And Nicole,
Howdy.
it's good to see you. Neil in the bottom. And then we got Mr. William Hope up top. And I love
Yeah.
the background.
Great to see everybody finally faces because it's the first full kind of on video thing.
Yeah.
It's all been audio before. It's great to see you.
Yeah.
Great.
Zoom is getting paid this year.
Oh yeah.
They are making money.
Oh, to be a stock owner in
Yeah.
Zoom.
It's good to be a Zoom stock owner.
Yeah, I guess we can go around, just kind of say what you guys have been up to, and then we'll keep an eye out for those questions in the chat. Well, Jeff, what have you been doing since? I know you had the big release of Avengers.
Yeah. That was. I think it's almost been a month now.
Yeah.
I think we've been out for just about a month. So yeah. So that was kind of like the big thing, and that was a great project. And I'm really happy with the way it turned out.
Mhm.
And the feedback seemed to be really good. So Avengers, and then a couple of the things which will soon to be talked about. But things have been good, man. I've been home spending good time with my wife, and trying to make the best of an otherwise difficult situation. But we're doing all right.
Right.
Yeah.
William, how's the things going on? You're still out there in England, right?
Yeah, I'm still here, but since we last spoke, I've been away. I wanted to plug something which I think is really terrific. I recently, do you guys know Neil Gaiman? You know who I mean?
Yeah, for
Sounds
sure.
familiar.
Yeah.
He put together or wrote a lot of books turned into graphic novels called The Sandman.
Mhm,
And
yeah.
Wait, time the fuck out. You're on the Sandman?
Yeah. I play one of the leads. Great. Yeah.
Holy fuck, dude! You didn't tell me that, Bill.
Yeah, Warner Brothers is just developing the TV show, but we did it. Neil Gaiman and a genius called Dirk Maggs. We did it for Audible. Huge all-star
Holy
cast,
fuck.
all kinds.
Yeah.
kinds
Bill,
of
I
amazing
spoke
actors.
to you last week about having a pint, and you didn't tell me shit about that. That's fucking big.
No, but hey,
That's
it's
fucking
like
big.
the second month at the top of the New York Times best-selling audio list.
Man,
Yeah,
Two
that's
months
cool.
running. I
That's
got
awesome.
this amazing role, Dr. Destiny, who's like a complete lunatic. Really. It's beautiful, beautiful work. It's some amazing actors, but you can stream it from Audible now and buy it. Anyway, that's just been released last month
Mhm.
over here.
Amazing.
I just got back. I'm allowed to talk. I'm playing the sheriff in a reboot of Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
What?
Oh my
I've heard of
god.
that movie.
that's
Wow.
awesome,
That's
dude.
nice.
For Legendary.
Yeah.
And, they're still shooting, but I just got back like a couple of weeks ago, and that was dead cool. So we'll see what happens. So,
Yeah, it's be interesting.
That's awesome.
Arlie Ermy had a great when
That's
he played the
fucking
sheriff in the Michael Bay remake that came out in early 2000s. Arlie Ermy was phenomenal as the sheriff,
Oh, he
so
was
I'm
great.
looking forward to see how your performance comes out because
yeah.
it's such an
I'm not
interesting
allowed to say
character.
anything.
Yeah.
We're under NDAs, but they just released it on IMDb. So
Yes, you can at least say that you're in it. Yeah.
Congrats,
Yeah.
That's
Maria.
so fucking
That's gonna be
cool.
awesome.
Congrats,
Yeah.
Bill.
I just love that we can always rely on Bill to like just show up really humbly and drop like
Big news.
that are like major franchises that he's casually working on.
By the way, I
was
doing this thing.
Oh,
It slipped my
yeah.
mind.
You know, not doing much.
I just did the
But
thing.
the
Yeah, it's no big deal.
thing you're not mentioning, Nicole, is I'm like 3 times all of your ages combined. So that thing has a little bit of bearing on,
Yeah.
been around the block a few times.
Yeah, but still, dude, I talk about holding out, Bill. I did not know you were working with Neil Gaiman. That's a big fucking deal. That's cool.
Yeah.
The only
And,
Neil I get to work with is the one in the corner.
I know, it's been painful for all of us, Jeff. It's okay.
That was good.
Nicole, what have you been up to since the game came out? I know you've been big on Twitch and doing a lot of great streams with the other cast members.
And franchises that I
Yeah.
have coming. No, I've not been as busy as William Hope. But yeah, no, I have a couple games that are not announced yet. A few projects that I'm excited for that we're all just not saying anything yet.
Yeah.
You want to announce them here?
Really don't. Instead, I would like to keep a career. And
Yeah, so you want to get fired?
I'm not gonna do that today. As much as I love you. Yeah, so some of that, and then I've been streaming on Twitch and just hanging out with a bunch of the Resident Evil community, honestly, and playing games and having fun and bringing guests on. I think you guys know, like, it's so much fun to bring people on and just chat about their work and their lives, what they're passionate about. So I've just been kind of taking this time and being curious and exploring.
Yeah. I mean, that's so much going on right now that we can't do. That's so finding other ways to entertain yourself and outlets for your creativity, like with your Twitch streams and stuff, is always awesome.
Yeah, exactly that, and lots of reading. I made a Lego mansion for Halloween. So
Nice.
I don't know what you guys been up to, Bill? Whatever.
What a mansion.
You've seen the haunted house Lego mansion because it has an automatic elevator, and it
has an automatic
control
elevator
it from your iPhone. Finished it. So
Nicole, we spoke the other day. You didn't tell me about that.
Can we see it? Can you like put your camera on it?
Yeah, can you just show us it?
You talk about it, but you're not going to show us?
Let me bring it over.
Okay.
All right.
While she's doing that, Neil, how's things been for you since the game came out?
Thank you for making me a filler for the segue towards Nicole's Lego mansion.
Dude, you got
it's been
for a
good.
Lego mansion.
I got bumped for a Lego mansion, Jeff. We weren't together. If Nicole's back, we'll pause. It's fine.
Yeah. Wow.
I have to say genuinely, I know that sometimes people talk about how like castmates get on and they're still friends and blah, 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 all that kind of stuff. I have to say, for anybody in any doubt, Nicole, myself, Jeff, Bill, we are genuinely friends. This experience that we shared together and some other experiences we may have had as well, we actually are friends. And the fact that we're all together here is such a beautiful thing, because I really miss everybody. And Bill and I are supposed to meet up because we both live in London currently. But for Jeff and Nicole, I haven't seen them for a time. And this is a really beautiful thing. So thank you so much for inviting us.
Thank you for being
onto this panel. Selfishly, so I get to see my friends.
Sorry, I gotta interrupt. Nicole, did you
show us
build
your
that
thing.
piece for
Oh my
piece?
God, it's so good.
It's awesome.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing.
How long did that take?
Wait for it, Bill. This is for you. Do you see this? Do you see this little elevator?
You're doing it from your phone.
That's cool.
Oh, and the door opens. That's awesome.
Oh no!
Is it like it's like the Tower of Terror?
Yeah, Tower of Terror.
Yeah, that's
cool.
Connected, but there's like a whole soundtrack. It's a thing. Lego's gotten really intense. I haven't.
Let's go really intense.
A Lego piece in many years.
Nicole, did you have to get a Lego genius to come over and actually build it for you? Is that complicated?
No,
it's actually you can still do it yourself. Like, it's not that complicated.
Watch Halloween movies and follow the instructions. Okay, I'm moving this out. I've really taken it, but
this is elaborate. Wow,
that's
crazy.
Man.
Legos have always been on the cutting edge, though. Like when I was a kid,
it's beautiful. Bravo.
Yeah,
the pirate ship, the big one with the sails.
Yeah,
dude, the pirate ship was fantastic. Or any of their capsule ones,
their Star Wars ones,
medieval times ones.
Yep. Yeah,
Legos were always awesome.
Yeah,
I mean, they didn't have iPhones then, but they were always pretty cutting edge.
Yeah, definitely.
It was pretty cool.
We do have some questions coming in here, so I'm gonna jump to the first one.
I was going to talk about what I was doing.
Oh, yeah. No, go ahead.
I know.
My bad.
I know I was a segue to Nicole's thing, but I'm just going to quickly do the segue. So yeah, very quickly. Thanks for having me on. Blah, blah, blah. I've been working on Baldur's Gate 3. Which has just been an early access release. I play Astarion, who's a pansexual vampire who's up to no good. A really wonderful character. There's a whole bunch of stuff I can't talk about, so let's not get into that. But yeah, apart from that, life has been good and happy. And that's about all I have to say about that. So life is good, happy, Baldur's Gate 3. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Right. I mean, that's what we all want right now, just to enjoy ourselves, be happy, right? At least things are going good. In a bad year. So checking out some of these questions come through. TGV, Monster asked earlier, what pets do you each have?
Well, I've seen everyone be like, "Oh my gosh, there's a human! Hi, human!"
It's a
Who's
human
that?
child.
As
Hi.
opposed to a lot of robots. Yeah.
Oh, there's
And
one.
there's a dog.
Yeah,
Um,
so.
Puppy. Ooh.
There he is. Let's see his face.
We
Jive.
made an attempt, but he got distracted. I have a dog, Ronan, and another dog. He's a big one, and then our other one is a.
Kitty.
Kitties.
Cute kitty.
This is
And Neil's like, I have my vodka.
Oh,
These are questions.
That's it. My pet vodka.
yeah, what's his name? There he is.
Oh, there he is.
My God, he's gorgeous.
Yeah, he
What a
is.
He's so
moose.
cute.
He's gorgeous.
He's a big boy.
He's
He's so
beautiful.
good. Your dog is so fucking beautiful. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
He's like I mean, if he and I don't really walk together very often because then I get no attention. So
Everybody loves the dog. Yeah. Yep.
Get out of here, dog.
and that doesn't work for me.
Yeah. We had a donation. Wow, Mr. Nice Chai donated $50. That's amazing.
Whoa.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank
He
you very
said,
much.
just wanted to say this is an absolutely wonderful. Thank you, Ro, for bringing us this much closer to the talented actors that bring our beloved characters to life. You are all amazing. Roecon, Hype. All right.
Oh, thanks,
Oh,
man.
it's Roecon.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Very
Yeah.
kind.
Well, thank
Yeah,
you.
we actually
can
met
I-
him at PAX South earlier this year. He's like a real nice dude. Real nice
Oh, yeah.
dude.
Nice.
Can I add as a caveat to that
Sure.
obviously with all game work that and I'm lucky and blessed to be surrounded by so many talented performers. It's not just us as well though. It's also the animators, the devs, the people
Right.
that make the game, that makes the game so playable, that direct the game. Steve Kniebly obviously was our wonderful director. That was amazing and is also our friend. There's many people, including the mocap studio, etc., that go to making the game.
Mhm.
So if it's okay for the other actors, I'd also like to thank them
Mhm.
for making this experience that everybody seems to be enjoying so much. So
Yeah,
thank
that's
you very
true.
much.
And I understand Steve is getting multiple projects for the four of us to work together in Japan very soon.
Oh, wow.
I really
Wow.
hope this so. I really hope so.
Scarlet
Steve, if you're watching, we're here. We're
He's
available.
making this up.
Nothing to do with
Would love that.
projecting and dreaming.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
We have another Brad Duct Tape Hale. I recognize that. You submitted one of your
Yep.
cosplays.
I know who that is.
Yep. Donated $5. Says, best pre-Halloween weekend ever with all the RE goodness. Tuning in with Jill, Carlos, Nikolai, Mikhail, and Nemesis. Thank you.
Yes.
Here's
Thank
a
you for
question.
joining us.
This question from the Smayer 707. Let's see. Donated $20. Says, question for the cast of RE3 Remake. How difficult was it to get into the mindset of grown adults living during the most dangerous situation ever, the year 1998? Also, I paid day so I could get a group yell, hell yeah, brother. So I guess he got paid today. So hell yeah, brother.
Oh, yeah.
Payday's always good.
Hell
It's
yeah.
Specification grown adults.
Yeah.
And to go ahead and jump in here and be like, well, I'm actually the only grown adult, but I try to do my best to babysit.
You did a great job. You did
Look,
you
getting in the
great.
mindset of a grown adult is hard. I won't speak for anyone else, but kind of bouncing off what Neil already said, I think the people that you work with really define your experience, and
Yeah.
oftentimes your final performance. Obviously, you know what you do is still dependent on your ability to show up. But I really just think like being around these amazing actors and being with Steve and being with a team that was so committed to
Mhm.
the story and making something cool and bringing the material that was written to life just makes it so much easier. It's so fun. You know, we have a lot of blasts, we banter a lot, we're silly, we're playful, but when it comes down to it, you know, they call action and we're there, and we're supported by some incredible talents that allow us to kind of drop in, get serious, and also have a blast.
Yeah.
Indeed. Yeah.
And if
Absolutely.
they fly you out to Japan,
Yeah.
you freaking deliver.
Yeah, exactly, right?
That too.
Yeah. We're not gonna fly you out there and then you have issues or choke on it. So
Yeah. But
that would not be
Yeah.
good.
It's our job. Our job is to have fun and
Yeah.
to dive in and create the world. They say, okay, this is the world. And we have the good fortune to be in this profession and to, you know, be childlike, play games and make up worlds. And
Yeah.
that's what we do best, I guess. And it's just a gap. So we're very privileged people. But
I
it's
think
two
there's.
ways
I think.
for people to appreciate it also. Two-way, we do our work, and then the fans, just an enormous shout out and thanks to everybody for playing tennis with each other. We do it and they appreciate it and have fun.
Yeah.
Cool.
My
I
job is
also think.
to keep us. Oh, sorry.
Neil.
Go, Neil. I would never
No,
want
it's all right.
to. I would never want to talk over you.
No, it's okay. It's a occupational hazard. So I was going to say that there is a wonderful thing when you are surrounded, and this is really for my fellow actors, surrounded by people that take their work very seriously, but also have a great sense of play. That I am speaking for all of us, but I know it's true that all of us leave our blood on the floor every time that we get a gig. We all take it seriously. These are consummate professionals I'm surrounded by. And I think the point is that, to be offered a gig as an actor, if you take it, you have to completely commit to it. And you have to honor that. And also the fact that people then respond to it is a huge bonus for us, because obviously we're trying to tell a story and entertain people. Whether people like it or not is not up to us. It's up to them. It's their choice and their how they react to the story. So to hear so much positive feedback for the story and the characters specifically that we embody is an overwhelming sense of joy, I think, for a lot of actors, because it's an interesting thing being on camera work, especially with mocap and performance capture, that you don't get to see your audience, so you don't know what the reaction is. So to hear that back and hear that people have enjoyed it, but also find communities through the game, that there are communities for Resident Evil and for many other games that people actually meet each other, is quite an incredible bonus in a modern age technology setting. That these kind of things actually create systems where people can become friends with other people that have a like interest.
Right.
So that's nothing to do with us, but it's fascinating to be a part of that, because I think it's a really wonderful bonus. On top of, like Bill said, that we just get to play for a living, which is an amazing way of making a job, making a career, making money, is to be able to play. So thank you very much to the communities. And sorry if I'm speaking on behalf of the actors, but I think that's fair to say.
Yeah.
Well said, yeah.
What were you gonna say, Nicole?
Oh no, yeah, I was just gonna say my only job is to keep a straight face while
Right.
get off my train, shit bird, and you just stay really serious.
Jill in the background. Yeah.
We have a $10 super chat. Jeff, in May, you said you were going to start streaming. This is from Zohan. Is that still going to happen?
You're going to start streaming?
It says Neil looking hella sus right now. Hi, William, sub Nicole, RE boys in effect, kid.
Amazing.
Well, I guess I don't know when you're going to start streaming.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
Jeff?
Announce it.
I don't know. When I see Neil and Nicole stream, I realize how much effort it takes. And
Funny enough,
it's so much better for me to just jump into their hard work.
Piggyback off of that.
Yeah, I feel like I'm in a really good piggybacking position right now, so I'm gonna ride this until the wheels fall off.
Oh God, I've missed you. The idea that you think that we have put a lot of hard work into this is extraordinary. Because have you seen my shit? It's really not hard. It's really.
I kind of just assumed that yours was going to be as good as Nicole's, but if it's not, that's fine.
No.
I was actually, because Neil and I streamed with Neil once. We were supposed to play something together, and
yeah, Left 4 Dead, I think it was.
I guess when Neil and I are left to our own devices, planning is not really a thing that we do very well. So
in other words, I was the prescribed navigator while we were in Japan. Everyone was you're coming to dinner, right, Nicole? Because no one was sure they were going to
know how to get there.
Because we want to eat.
So it's like, you're coming to dinner, right?
In Japan, Nicole is basically Google, Siri, and your concierge like all rolled into one.
Yeah.
So I would just say, like, don't travel without one.
Yeah, don't leave your Nicole at home.
Do you know where your Nicole buddy is? Stay with your Nicole buddy. That's it.
You just have to put up with the occasional breakout into song, and otherwise you get all the benefits. There's just no radio off button.
Can I pause that? Did you say occasional?
Remember that thunderstorm? You guys?
Yeah, I remember we were in Ginza. Yeah,
and
we were in Ginza at the time.
Almost never been in a thunderstorm that big. We were in Japan.
Yeah, it was amazing.
Through, we didn't know where we were. We got
I
back.
still have the best footage of that, of us just covered, drenched in water, how it just dumped, and we
Yeah.
had no umbrellas, and we were very,
But you got
very
us back, which
indoors.
is great.
Sounds like you guys have a lot of great experiences. I love that your cast is so united that you're so close. I really like to see that with the new games that are coming out. Is between 7 and they're all staying in contact, and 2, of course, Nick and Stephanie and Jolene, all of them stay in contact, and then all of you are together. I love seeing how you guys are making your groups out of this, and now that you're starting to cross into other groups, like you're joining, Stephanie for stuff, or jumping into other streams and just hanging out.
Yeah, I did all of Resident Evil 2 with Nick, and
Yeah.
working through it with Stephanie right now.
Yeah, so it's really awesome.
Nick's a sweetheart, man.
Oh, they're
Nick's
so
such a
sweet.
nice guy.
Yeah.
He's
Nick,
so
I think
sweet.
it's like I think you see like the commonality across all the games, just in so much as you've got a lot of people who are very giving and generous with their time and cool and easygoing, and then you have a fan base that I think echoes all those same sentiments. Like the fans are incredibly supportive, super chill. Like I think it feels like they just, and look, and the internet can always go sort of one of two ways, but I just feel like Resident Evil fans, like, they just seem to lean positive. And so I kind of feel like the cast and the people that support us, we just kind of feed off each other. So it's very easy to continue that community and be positive and contribute, because I mean, who doesn't want to hang out with other people, whether you've worked with them or they're supporting what you've done? Who doesn't want to hang out with cool people?
Right.
Yeah. And also, that's the thing. It's like making an endeavor like this. It was challenging at times, but I know this is true, so I can say this for everybody. But there were no bad days. There were obviously difficult, challenging days physically, or there was a lot of very intense scenes, or blah blah blah, or things we had to work out on set. But there were no bad days. We had a lot of fun on this, and although I can't talk about other things. I have crossed paths with my brother and my sister and with Mr. Hope as well since then. And there are things like that will come out that we will be doing later that carry on this idea that when you work with good people, it's not work, it's playtime. And it's challenging sometimes, but you feel like, because it's a vocation, not a job. And we're lucky enough to be in a place that we can do a vocation and get paid for it as well.
Right.
Yeah.
That when you have a great day, or you have a great shoot, or you have a great project, it does, it's a memory that will last for most of your life, I think. And you meet people that hopefully you'll know for, if not all of your life, a big portion of your life. And I'm very grateful to say that I called Jeff and whatever her name is, Nicole, my brother, I call them my brother and sister, and I mean that very literally. I had a very profound experience and created a very strong friendship with them, as with Mr. Hope as well. I don't want to say that you're my uncle, because that'd be weird, Bill.
Or don't.
Yeah. So elder brother. But the point is that we created a mocap family, and Steve actually talks about that he has a mocap family, and the fact that all of us are together in this, we have these experiences, testament to what a great project it was, and how much fun we had, and how challenging it was, and yet how hard we all worked, etc., etc., etc. So to be a part of that is incredibly privileged, and I feel very grateful personally.
It really is once you see everyone else in a mocap suit, there's just like no going back. We know each other now.
We know each other.
Yeah, I can see, having a cast where you guys have such a good rapport with each other, you're so close, you elevate each other's performances, you're easy to work with. I can see why people are wanting you to take projects, bring these guys over to this project. I think they're going to do great here, so I can see them, companies looking for you as a group to go work on other projects.
You guys have really good chemistry. I mean, this whole podcast so far, this panel, I've just been smiling the whole time. Just your guys' banter between each other. You could literally just go on for hours, just fighting with each other and joking, and that would be entertaining to me.
Yeah. I shouldn't talk about this, but we are thinking about starting a pop band. That's
even better. All
What's
right.
what's
You're
the
a
name?
live performance today.
Jeff and I are still going to do a Christmas album.
Oh, that'll be cool. That'll be cool. Yeah, someday
Carlos and Jill, Christmas album.
Jeff, I would buy that.
I would buy it. I don't know anybody here that wouldn't.
Yeah, that album is about to go aluminum.
Great foil.
Hey, aluminum.
Jack Bretchel did a $10 donation earlier. He said, enjoyed everybody's performances in the remake. Enjoy the ROE crew. Enjoy listening to this while I can at work. Have a great weekend, all. Well, enjoy your day at work. Thank you for hanging out.
Thanks so much.
Have a good weekend, man.
Yeah.
Thank you, man.
We have another
Very good.
$50 super chat from Mr. Nice Try once
Oh,
again.
again?
Question.
Jesus,
Thank you.
Question for Neil. Nikolai
Hi.
has come in many forms throughout the RE games. Did you research any of those, or did you create your own version of him based off of the script and background given?
Yeah, I go with the latter. I don't like I haven't been often in the position where I've had to recreate somebody else's, not recreate performance, sorry, do a character that has been done by another actor. I tend to not to look at other people's work because I think it's their work. In that time, in that moment, it was appropriate for the project they were doing. It was their take. And I tend not to like to look at their work because I don't want it to infect my idea and the director I'm working with and the writers I'm working with that obviously have a slightly different take on that character. So no, I didn't. I just used the script. Obviously, Steve is an amazing director, and he and I, we were all friends anyway, so it was very easy to be able to talk to him quite openly about the Wanted. Capcom were amazing because they were very accessible. They were very good about allowing us to do our work, but also helping us with some advice that wasn't breaking the flow of the creativity on the set. And yeah, I approached it as a completely new character. Obviously, you know, every actor, his methodology is different, but for me personally, I'd like to be able to take my take on it, working with the team, obviously with the director and the writers, because I think if you start trying to go to what you think people might want, you're not necessarily going to get to the truth of the character. If you know what I mean. Does that make sense?
Right.
Like you're
not making it your own and making this character believable. You're just doing somebody else's impression, basically.
Right.
Well, yeah, or trying to lean into what you think people want is a mistake. I think it's better to go, well, how do I see the character? How do they see the character? Let's work together to create this character and then offer that up. And if people like it or not, they're cool. Hopefully everybody thought he was a complete bastard, in which case my job is done.
Perfect,
so,
yeah.
So you know you did a good job.
Yeah. I loved Nikolai in this version. He was good in the original, but in this version he had a whole nother level to him, which I really appreciated.
Thanks very much.
This is an interesting question from Dr. Pepper. Wants to know, when it comes down to doing mocap for the roles, was the studio specific about how you do certain movements, like a punch or Jill's roll? Was there like coaching on that and how they wanted it to look, or was that just a natural doing it your way?
Yeah, okay, I'll take it. I didn't know. There's some other amazing mocap experts on here. So they are specific about, so mocap in general is very fun because it's can be incredibly technical as well. So there are certain aspects of it that do require incredibly specific movements, and then there are other aspects of it where we are just totally free to develop and create. So specifically for like the role, the role had to get under the gate, like she had to get under the gate. So that's specific. It's got to happen in this area. But as far as like how it looks, we just wanted to look badass. Neil and I actually worked on that because he's an amazing stunt performer, and I was like, can I do it with the helmet and everything? And I did it with the face cam and whatever else, and we made it happen, and it looked good, so they kept it, which was awesome. And then things like this one's very specific. The end of every cinematic scene for Jill specifically, because she's your player character, and Jeff would have had some of this as well. She has to end back in a very specific position so that they have an easier way to seamlessly transition you as the player. So at the end of every scene, I've got to find a way to naturally get back to this left hand forward and this right foot back, like in the exact position. And then the other thing is because you as the player get to open doors as Jill, and anytime I open a door in a scene, I have to open it the exact same way that the motion happens in game, and she opens doors with her left hand because she shoots with her right. And so that's a little strange, like opening a door with your left hand if you're right-handed, but if you have a gun, like, makes sense. So some of those movements have to be mimicked exactly, whereas others you have total freedom because we're just working within a space. Those are the limitations, is your space.
Yeah,
Neil,
a lot of things it makes sense. I just never thought of, it goes down to that finest detail of just opening the door exactly the same every time, or making sure, like, there's a lot that goes into it, and that's tricky to do.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Because Neil, with your background with mocap, is that something that is taught to you, since you have like a real definitive career of doing motion capture, or was is something you've learned along the way, or was that like a skill set you had to develop before you really got into it?
It's kind of a combination of two, really. When I started about 10 years ago in mocap and performance capture, and there wasn't really much. At first, there weren't many of us doing it, and a lot of people saw it as not an art form. They didn't see games as an art endeavor. They didn't see narrative storytelling in the same way they saw television, film, and theater, for instance. So we went into it a little blind. We were very lucky that the people I worked with, like Audio Motion, Imaginarium, Centroid, these studios had a bit of history, obviously, beforehand about doing this stuff. They knew what they were doing. So they were very, very good about supporting the performers, about saying, well, you can do it like this and do it like that, and problem solving. But we were never officially taught. It was more about bringing our skill sets and acting to the work. But as it's gone on, as the last 10 years or so, you've seen things like branching narratives, like Planet of the Apes: Last Frontier, that Bill and I was in, and Bill can talk about how the fact that we had to play scenes 5 times because each time the decisions would change and you have to try and find a route through to make sense of it, as well as things like more sophisticated rendering so that nuance in acting was allowed to come through, so that you could do, and performance capture essentially was kind of born in that way, that you actually could have detail, which meant that it was like a film close-up with a theater wide, and it was a weird combination of the two, which it still is. I was helped along the way. I had people that gave me advice. I learned a lot through the work of doing. But it's been an interesting ride, whereas now there are schools that have started up. I actually have an academy that we teach performers how to use the techniques. But again, it's all performance. Like the idea of mocap and performance capture being separate is not really true. It's all performance.
Yeah, it's all performance.
And if you bring somebody into the volume, you're taking their skills, whether an actor, puppeteer, or a gymnast, or parkour expert, whatever it is they do, it's still performance. So I think it's changed a lot, but only for the better. Only that you can have more nuance, you can be more subtle, you can rely on the imagery as well as opposed to these huge movements that we had to do, almost theatrical. Now you can be quite detailed. For instance, my brother, who's down here on my camera, Bill, has an amazing. Which one was it? Which was the zombie game that you were doing? Was it Walking Dead?
Yeah,
Overkill.
Overkill, right?
Yeah. Have you? Walking Dead, for anybody that hasn't seen the trailer, where my man Bill is in that, is amazing.
Yeah, really.
Because 10 years
really
ago,
well
it wouldn't have been like that.
Yeah.
Whereas now, it's the fidelity of the software. You can pick up every little kind of eye movement, every little wrinkle in the face, every little moment of pause. It's so detailed. You can have these wonderful moments. If you haven't checked it out, see it, because it's amazing.
Yeah, it really is. That's one of the best trailers they released for that game. And then I like it because
it's really good.
It's a story within the trailer, which was great because it tells a whole story right there. So it's a really good trailer.
Yeah, the thing that I'm expecting to happen in the not too distant future is that the trailers were to introduce new characters for the Walking Dead game. So they really turned up the budget and the production values and the length of time to produce the trailers. So it looked cinematic. I mean, the one, you can look at them all. And of course, the game itself isn't that level of fidelity because it would take them forever to produce and it would cost way too much money. But I think the technology is getting so much better. Neil knows way more about this than I do. But that every year that goes by, I mean, really, the actor's profession is in danger because they're going to have virtual representations of all of us. Once they capture us, they're going to be able to, reproduce that. The last frontier, of course, is the eyes and the subtle movements of the face. But I think also there's more scripts happening, more games happening where character-driven narrative is much more to the forefront. And I think people are developing character-based products and games way more than they used to. I don't know. You guys, Neil, as far as I'm concerned, I know Neil's works tons in this kind of area, and Jeff, you do, but you guys will know, and Nicole, I drop in very occasionally, so I don't really follow the industry very closely, but I know every time I come back, there's another layer of sophistication or 2 or 3 that's developed. And so it's getting more cinematic all the time.
We've seen some games that really have that too. Really great stories, very cinematic games, improving that single player experience.
Yeah, it is. And we got a $5 question here for Jeff. Question for Jeff: what is it like to voice the greatest UBCS soldier in the history of Resident Evil? No offense to Mikhail and Nikolai.
Because they're offended now.
I just taken. That's got to be one of the most accurate questions I've ever heard. I just feel like he nailed the essence of
the greatest.
I mean, Carlos is a really fun guy to play. I like him because he's so proficient and so much more proficient than all of the other soldiers around him. His skill just dwarfs the.
Don't forget his charisma.
His charisma and the hair. The hair.
Let's give Sterling a little credit. You have a pretty sweet partner who.
Dude, love Sterling, great guy, but no, Jeff can say lines as an actor and deliver them as a character that nobody on this fucking planet can deliver. I'm sorry, it's true, because cruel Carlos World. How the fuck did you make that sound cool?
No idea. Everyone just walked around and tried to say it.
I think that was always fun about, and not just Carlos, but the tone of the game in general. There was this real sort of 80s, sort of 90s kind of those quirky little nods. I just love that sort of sentimentality and the way that they created the universe. It made it walked that fine line for me, which is where horror really shines in there's those moments where you're scared or it's intense or there's a lot going on, but there's also a fine layer of humor.
Mm-hmm.
I think of some of the horror movies that I love the most have that same sort of vibe to it, like Cabin in the Woods.
Right.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Those moments of levity that that really help you pay off those moments of tension or fear or so. Yeah. And I feel like Carlos epitomizes a lot of that because he really is sort of the forefront of that kind of weird humor.
Mm-hmm.
I also, on that note, actually, I like the fact that Capcom and Steve were very, very cool about specifically supporting Nicole, about also allowing the story to be updated for modern times. Mm-hmm. Because I'm pretty sure, if I remember correctly, Nick, that your line of "I know what a radio is" was improvised. That's true, right? That was that moment.
I want to say I think it was more of a Jeff and I conversation.
Right.
We kind of looked at each other and we're like, the scene just ends. He just hands her a radio and that's it.
Yeah.
And I just remember we were both just like, I feel like she would say something, anything, something back to him after that moment. And we talked about a couple different things and we were just like, what if she just brings in the sass?
What if she really added the personality to the character?
What if she just has a moment?
But I just
acknowledges the mansplaining.
And I think in that moment too, it's the reason those moments work in those kinds of things are because you've created a character that supports that, right? It's not just a funny line for the sake of being funny. Nobody would really remember it if that was the case. Mm-hmm. But when it's so in line with who the character is, right? She's highly capable. She's driving this whole narrative. Nicole's playing her with all this strength. So it makes sense that when handed what is obviously a fucking radio, she literally says just that.
I know what a radio is. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So when everything gels like that, that's where improv, and when someone really understands their own character, it becomes very easy and very organic.
And then of course we had a team that was just like, yeah, we'll leave it. And we didn't happen because we shot the scene both ways. We shot the scene without.
That's right. You did, didn't you? Yeah. You
and then we did it, a couple takes. Mm-hmm. And then when the first, I think it was the demo. I don't know. Was it in the I think it was the demo. When the demo came out and we still weren't announced, you didn't know who we were or that we were part of it. I remember watching it and I think I even texted Jeff and I was like, it made it in.
Yeah. But that's also a testament to sort of the group you work with, right? Because as an actor, that's a real luxury because that's not always the case. It is much farther of a leap than you would imagine as an actor for the production to keep a line that you created. Right. It gets talked about a lot. And I think there's this sentiment that actors are just on set willy-nilly making up lines. But the reality is most of the time, no. You're lucky if they give you the option to like throw a suggestion in, and you're very lucky if that suggestion actually makes it into the final product. So I think that speaks to like Steve and the production crew for being open to like the notion that there might be other ideas than what was originally on the page that day.
Right.
And I think that goes back to the thing that, that when I say this was a great team and a great bunch of people to work with, and we all got on and there weren't any difficult days, it's literal. This is the example of that. There was a lot of good trust. There was a lot of hard work. Everybody had a lot of fun. And because of that, there, these things that are great, that were fantastic moments, that were good observations as well, were supported by good people. So I mean, huge kudos to and huge thanks to Capcom team, and as well as Steve and everybody else that went involved in this, because this was a great shoot. This really was.
Peggy, I saw you had something to say earlier. Was it one of the questions been asked?
Yeah, actually, no. Samuel Fox in the chat was talking about how William was Lieutenant Gorman in Aliens.
Yes, he was.
And I had a question about how some of your earlier roles in all these different franchises, Aliens, Alien Isolation, Hellbound, where did this fascination with horror and aliens start?
Being offered a job.
Working with James Cameron.
Kind of somebody going, we'd like you to be in this. Would you like to do this? Yes. That's kind of the and you go, do you know anything about this? No. So I find out about this, and this is like a lot of people have said, "Oh my God, you do motion capture! I'd love to do that. How did you get into it?" And I go, audition, and people go, "Yeah, okay, you can come and do this." It's I mean, I've said this before. I think I probably said it with Ali. That there is this misconception that a lot of people say, and why did you choose this project, or why did you if you're Tom Cruise or Tom Hanks or Jack Nicholson or any of these people, you can choose and do whatever you want. But for the vast majority of all of us, the 98%, it is about surviving, and it is about getting up, being professional, being ready, and doing your best in auditions and meetings and whatever. And the rest is up to your luck, your karma, your whatever you want to call it. And suddenly you find yourself going down this path. And then suddenly you do this path. And I mean, in particular, I haven't got a clue. And people will say, well, okay, why do you always end up dying in your movies? Why do you always end up bursting into flames? Or I have no idea, except
because it looks cool,
and nobody does it better.
Better get. It's just kind of I appreciate the question, and the basic answer is I haven't a freaking clue. But you get offered to do the work you do, and you dive into the world, and you automatically become affectionate with the world. And this latest Texas Chainsaw, when it comes out next year, I have no idea what it's going to be like, and how did this happen? Out of the blue, totally left field.
Wow.
And it wasn't a question of choice. People just said, "Do you want to do this?" And I said, "Are you kidding? We're in a pandemic, and you want me to be employed?" Yes. But so the answer is I don't know, but just and I think there is the fact that Aliens is such a big movie. And that there's a lot of it affected a lot of styles of production, and there's a whole genre. And so people people say, "Oh, do you want to be in Aliens versus Predator?" "Oh my God, he's Gorman. Of course, you can come and do this." And they go, "Are you free?" "Yes." "Do you want to do this?" "Yes." And that's just how it kind of happens. And then other times you look at scripts, you go, "No, actually, I don't think I'd like to do that." But it's you follow your nose, and you just, as long as you're prepared and fit and ready and you're professional, you do what comes up under your nose. Any of you guys disagree? I mean, I don't know.
No, I totally agree with you. Totally. Man. It's like you take the job, you leave your blood on the floor.
Wow.
And we don't always get choice. We're just I think the main thing is that if an actor or a performer of any type, or a freelancer of any type, it's not even viewed to entertainment, if you take a gig, you have to leave your blood on the floor of that job. You have to be willing to completely commit to it, because you're taking the money, you're taking the responsibility of the work. So I find it hard sometimes when I hear about it doesn't happen so much anymore, but it happened at the beginning of my career. I'd meet maybe some actors that were very disgruntled with the job they were doing, and you'd be sitting there going, but you're working, and you're working in, this isn't like a professional problem. This is like just talking about the work itself.
Right.
It's like, well, then don't take the job. If there's not like an issue that's underlying, that's a whole different thing, which it should be talked about. If it's just about the job itself, don't take the job, because some other actor would do it generally, would commit to it.
It's just
living in gratitude, exactly.
Just being grateful, because we're actors, we're artists, we love to make art, and the opportunity to really get to do that for a living is just
a privilege.
Such a privilege. And I think, the other thing is you fall in love with what you do because you love what you do. So even if you take a job to begin with, you may discover a whole new love story of something that you really respect and appreciate. I'm sure Bill has felt that with Alien and Beyond. At first it's like, this thing, and then you get into it and it's like, this thing, didn't know. And that's just how life is. You just be open to surprises and you express gratitude every step of the way, and you'll continue to be surprised.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's a very, very hard industry, and to make a living in this industry requires, you can basically say most of the people who can stick it are talented and work very, very hard. So whether your luck is moving that way, that's what it's pretty much down to, and gratitude for the luck as it comes. And you follow one thing to the next. And, and I've been doing it a very long time, very, very long time. And I still feel my best work is yet to come, fingers crossed, in all kinds of ways. That's the other great gift of this profession, that there's no ageism. You can just keep.
Yeah, you can keep working.
And
by the way, I'm really looking forward to working with you again, Bill, because we definitely have unfinished business in the volume together.
In my Zimmer frame.
Here's another $50 donation from Mr. Nice Chai, which I want to comment about that. The donations they're going into the funds to try and make this a real in-person event next year. So we're stockpiling anything that you guys donate so we can actually do this together for real.
Amazing.
Yeah,
that's great.
Yeah, that would be amazing.
That's awesome.
That's so cool.
So this is Mr. Nice Chai has a question for Nicole.
Yeah.
When Nikolai told you to go to the subway station, but then questioned why you were there later, Carlos spoke up for you. If you were taken back to that moment, how do you think Jill would respond to Nikolai?
Oh, I love this question. You want to know specifically?
Yeah.
Because in that scene specifically, like
we talked about this.
There were daggers. Like, this was a very good moment between Neil and I. And like, again, everything gets cut how it gets cut. You don't really see my reaction to him in that scene the way it's cut. It's more my perspective. It's about the office, the UBCS officers' relationship to each other, and just the way that particular scene is cut. You only kind of get to see him as he leaves. But when we shot this scene, you can see it in his eyes a little bit. Like, he's staring at me the whole time, and I never break it. Like, I never.
That's all.
I never want to take this outside.
And so I actually have like positive moments of that scene. I remember Neil and I finishing it being like, well, that was fun. Real hard. And just talking to him the second he walked in, and you don't really get to see it, but I know that it happened. And
I will back you up on that, Susan. That happened.
So yes, I don't think that the words were necessary. I like how the scene actually was, and I think the way that it's cut really works. And if it was a full movie and we had so much more time and we didn't slow the gameplay and the action down, you might see even more of that dynamic. But I think the message still gets across, and I love at least when we shot it, like, no dialogue.
The look.
Yeah, it would.
Here's a $20 donation from GamerGoo. This isn't a question, I think it's just a compliment. You guys are the SH hashtag money sign exclamation point.
I know what that is.
Sadly, they got to go back to work. I will definitely be turning it back in if I can, and we'll definitely be on tonight. Nicole, Neil, William, and Jeff, you are all the best, and I wish you all the well.
Thank you so much for being here.
And then Cloaker Queen donated $10. Says, "Greeting from the Chaos Crew. In your character's shoes, would you do anything differently from their actions? Also, Neil, You wouldn't have to change a thing. Have a wonderful day. So they were happy with Neil.
Right.
But I guess they're asking, you know, if you had a chance to maybe change one aspect or something you saw, what would you think that would be?
As the characters? Or
Yeah, as the characters.
As a character, yeah.
As the character.
I'd make sure that I just shot them straight away and got into the helicopter. Like, fuck the whole monologue.
No monologue.
just kill them.
Game over one scene.
Real quick onto that.
She comes up the stairs, bam, just get Dan. That was it.
When that helicopter took off, you had another one right behind that helicopter. I don't know why everybody thought.
I'm thinking DLC Mercenaries.
Yeah, right?
I'm just saying, folks.
Jeff, is there anything you would have changed, Jeff?
Oh man.
Just more Carlos.
More Carlos.
Yeah, more Carlos.
Is that something we can change? We could
the
change
world needs more Carlos.
No, you know, it's interesting because a lot of times I've worked on projects where, like, you know, you end up with a conversation with a director where you're like, why is he making this decision? I don't even understand, like, and then you end up justifying and you do it anyway. But no, I kind of felt like I would probably have done exactly what Carlos did. I really liked where he landed, man. He was, you know, protective without being a douche.
Yeah, exactly. He's got the machismo and charm, but he's not like you said, a douche about it.
Well, I think I like that because
Jeff's
I think
talent. Because if you read Carlos's lines on the page,
yeah, he comes off as that.
Oh my god!
This is why we maintain that Jeff Schine is a fucking awesome actor, because I have no fucking clue. And Nicole can back me up on this. How the fuck you get away with those lines? It's so deeply fucking cool. That's weird.
I just think, like, for me, and I felt like Steve was on the same page. Like, when Steve and I were talking about it, like, I just feel like that it would have stuck out like a sore thumb if Carlos had been tackled from the perspective of Jill needed saving.
Yeah.
And that was what he was here to do.
Yeah.
And I don't think, again, that just, like, wasn't the vibe, right? Like, she's got it. It's really like, I felt like Carlos is Jill's backup. That's it, right? Like, she's in the driver's seat and he's just riding shotgun. And I think if we had tried to push it in a different direction, then there would have been, like, we would have been butting heads from a character arc perspective, and it wouldn't have worked. So, you know, that's what I mean when I go back and say, like, you know, he's got all that macho and that swag and all that stuff, but you feel it in all of the lines. Like, he's never talking down to. They're always on the same, you know what I mean? And that for me is what works about the relationship.
Yeah.
Because that other trope is, like, it's just boring at this point. Like, it's such a boring, and also, like, not based in any truth or reality. It's just, so this for me is a way more authentic take on how two people would have handled it.
And it gives it gives the relationship somewhere to go too. That makes sense. Like, if you fell into the trope, it's not going to go anywhere. It's just going to stay that way. We're just going to be like, oh, that's who that person is. That's who this person. Okay, sure. Instead, like, Jill gets to show up and be resistant to everything that he's about, and then trust, and then eventually be like, sorry for the rocky start. You know, really, like, it's definitely on her for the rocky start.
Yeah, I agree. And I think it's cool, and it's like, and that it goes to the writers where, like, after that resistance, Carlos doesn't become petulant about it.
No,
you know what I mean? That would have been that would have been obnoxious.
Yeah, he's like, okay,
like,
I get it. Yeah,
isn't it cool that he just continues to, like, offer? Like, I just kind of feel like Carlos is this in the whole game is Carlos's handout keeps it out, and then eventually Jill takes it, and it's a handshake, not a helping hand.
Right.
Yeah. But that's the thing. You see that in development of the friendship, that you genuinely believe these people are going to be friends. They have a bond together now. That wasn't forced. It was brought out of circumstances because of who they are. It totally works. Yeah.
They start not your partner, and then they end up partners.
Yeah.
Unbelievably.
I'm so sorry. I apologize. I'm gonna have to thank you all so much and disappear. I got some other stuff I got to be doing. We've gone visiting.
Another panel, Bill?
Thank you, William. Appreciate you coming by, man.
Thank you, William. Great having you.
And thank you to everybody. It's so cool. And stay safe, be well, and we'll see you very, very soon. I'll
see you soon, man.
Take care. Thank you for coming by, man.
Thank you.
We're about that point, too, where we're going to start winding it down. I want to give you guys a chance to promote your signings that are coming up if you're taking part of that. And as well as your social media, whoever hasn't followed you from last time, so they can follow you this time. And you know, if you have any parting words to the fans. So I'll start with Jeff since he's up top there on my screen.
Man, I am not good at the first position.
Got this. I got you.
I guess so yes, Nicole and I will actually be doing a signing in a half an hour. It'll be on Instagram and YouTube, and Nicole's handling all of the technical aspects. But so once again, she's driving, I'm riding shotgun. And you know, I just want to say thanks to all the fans and to ROE for throwing this together. I really like. I'm genuinely grateful for the support and the love, and it's been a blast to get to play with all you guys. So thank you, and I look forward to seeing you guys next time.
And then I got Nicole. We're right underneath Jeff on my screen, so I'll jump to you.
Wonderful. Thank you. Yeah, just same sentiments. Thank you so much. This is such a pleasure. This whole year has been a really, really, really unique time for a lot of us, and it was definitely a unique time for something like this game and this work to kind of come out for me and for my co-stars. So just the amount of support and the ability to connect with you all, even digitally, has just been lovely. So thank you for putting this together as well, ROE. You guys are amazing.
Thank you for being here.
I look forward to a potential live event sometime in the future.
Yes.
We do have a signing. It's happening in a half an hour on my YouTube channel, which is just Nicole Tompkins. Type it in. And also both of our Instagrams. Jeff and I are both on Instagram and Twitter, at Jeff Schine, at Nikki Lee Tompkins. And our Streamly shops are open, and we still have some prints available. They're sitting here, gold Sharpies at the ready. So if anyone wants a print, the Streamly shops are on all of our social media.
I want one. I want one.
Okay.
I can't afford it, but I want one.
Okay, I'll take it.
We'll put that link in the chat again for everybody who's watching that didn't see it earlier. So that way you can go take a look and hopefully support the wonderful actors. Get yourself an autograph that you can take home and cherish. Watch them actually sign it in person. Since we're not in person, they can sign it in person on the camera. That makes sense. You get to see it happening. Anyways, Neil, you're last on the list. So.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, I'm doing a signing tomorrow, which is going to be, I think, on my Twitch channel, which is twitch.tv/Neil Newbon, and probably Instagram Live, although I'm really not, I'm like Jeff. Jeff and I are like the same level that I don't know how that works, so it may not actually work, but theoretically it could be on Instagram Live, so let's find out.
What have I told you? You gotta get Nicole, man. I told you.
I know, but you've got Nicole. I think we clash. It's not going to work. She's not available. She's blocked me. I don't know what to do. So anyways, that could be on that tomorrow.
Man, like I've been dating this guy for 3 years. We're done.
So that'll be I think 1 o'clock PST and 8 p.m. GMT for all my European buddies. But also, I just want to say huge thank you to RE Network for creating this. I was actually helping a mate of mine on Detroit community yesterday, and online communities have helped so many people. That have reached out to other people that are brought together through the like or love or interest of a game or a certain set of communities that are involved in certain games like role-play games and whatnot, that to see people support other people that come from completely different nationalities, ethnic groups, religious groups, sexuality, gender, all those kind of things from wildly different places on the planet, all find a commonality, and actually not only that, but also find a friendship, as much as you can be friends with somebody that you haven't actually physically met, because you should meet them at some point, right? But as we can't in the pandemic, the fact that these people are reaching out to one another and they're helping each other through these difficult situations where people may have mental health issues because of the pandemic or pre-existing, or just feeling lonely because actually they're isolated, or just feeling like there's no hope or they're not sure about the future, etc., etc. These things really are important for human beings. It's human nature. And to find that games, of all things, of wonderful things, have actually created communities beyond the game that have nothing to do with the actors and nothing to do with the games makers, but are of their own entity, is a really beautiful human experience to see or watch or be a part of. So thanks very much to you fellas, but also thank you very much to the wider community for looking out for each other, for creating, for making fan art, for making cosplay, fan fiction of the game and all that kind of stuff. It's really quite a wonderful, as a creative ourselves and myself, it's a beautiful thing to witness. So I really appreciate it. And I'm sure, you know, my fellow actors do as well, that people are interested in our work, but then make it their own work beyond that. It's really cool. So thank you. I ramble a lot. Nicole probably told you I talk too much. So.
Oh, it's all good. It's all good.
Yeah.
All right, well,
anyway, thanks very much.
Yeah, I want to thank all of you for being part of this. Thank you for volunteering your time and just having fun with us on this Friday afternoon. So
yeah, peace out.
Yeah, and we'll hopefully do something again here in the near future. Maybe we can do some streams together and jump on and hang out and, you know, give the fans some more content to enjoy. And again, I just want to say thank you. Thank you to everybody who's watching the panels. Stay tuned. We have the Resident Evil 5 panels coming up in about 30 minutes with DC Douglas and Eva Ladere. So
you got DC Douglas?
Yeah.
Say hi. Give him a big sloppy kiss from me.
Okay.
Exactly what that means, all right?
Yeah, and it's going to be nice seeing them two reunite and talk about Resident Evil 5. So stay tuned for that, and then we will see you guys back here in a little bit.
Woo!
Bye.
Bye.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.